The workbench is covered in paper again. You know what that means. What's up, guys? Welcome back to FullThrottleRC. Today we're painting a new body for the Street Eliminator car. I guess I could say I'm testing the aerodynamics of different bodies just to justify another body for the car. This one is the 1969 Nova from Proline. The body looks pretty detailed for a Lexan body, specifically the molded door handles. I'm also trying out Proline's Candy paint for this body. This is the Candy Blood Red. I have all the prep work done and I've laid out a graphic so we can get straight into painting. I did a test yesterday with different amounts of coats of the Candy in different backing colors. I've decided to try about 5 coats of Candy, so let's see how this goes. Candy paint is a true pigment, so the more coats you put on, the darker and deeper it gets. It's also usually a little thick, so it'll need to be reduced to spray through the airbrush. Now, normally I would start with a very light coat when painting a body, but I have a little experience with spraying Candy paints, and Proline's directions on the bottle say to spray medium to heavy coats, so that's what I'm going to try. The problem with a light coat is when you apply more coats later on, the areas where the light coat was applied will look blotchy because the color gets darker with each coat, like I mentioned before. I started on the sides of the wing and the paint was a little too thin, so I put it back in the cup and mixed a little more Candy into it. On the body itself, the best advice I could give to anyone spraying this Candy for the first time is to use long, consistent passes. If you start and stop in the middle of a panel or leave gaps or overlap too much, you'll have blotches in the finish, like I mentioned before. You can see I'm trying to stay smooth and apply as even of a coat as possible. You probably also noticed it looks like the paint isn't covering well at all, almost like I'm putting a light coat on. This is how a Candy looks. I'm actually putting on about a medium coat here, and since it's the first layer, it's pretty see-through. About here is when I realized the medium heavy first coat probably wasn't a good idea. It may be hard to see, but the paint was doing exactly what I've been saying you don't want: blotching. It was too late to back out now though, so I pushed through. I decided to let that first coat dry for a while to try and prevent it from getting worse. The second and third coats started looking a little better, but I was still worried about how it would come out. You can see the second coat is pretty wet, and now with every coat the red gets a little darker, even though it looks orange on camera for some reason. On the third coat, I was finally feeling okay about the results. Not happy, but content. You probably won't be able to see it on video, but there were a few runs and blotches, but they didn't look as bad as I thought. After all 5 coats of Candy, I moved on to the backer. I chose silver so that the color would pop a little more. A light color like white would give you an even brighter red, while a darker color like black or gray would create more of a dark final color. The metallic in the silver will help the red Candy pop a little more. You can see the silver looks like it's not covering much though, since it's a light color. I ended up with 2 coats of silver before moving on to the stripe. I ran into a little bit of trouble peeling the masking up for the stripe and didn't get any of it on video. I guess either the 5 coats of Candy or the heavier than normal first coat made the paint stick to the masking, so it would try to peel up the paint with the masking. After fighting it for a while, I finally got it all off cleanly and sprayed 2 coats of charcoal gray over the entire thing. There's still one thing left to do to finish it off though. The one thing I wished I would have done to the Corvette body was tint the windows. I picked up some transparent black, which is basically just a super reduced black, to try this out. Because of how thin this paint is, I made sure to use extremely light coat. Controlling the amount of paint coming from the airbrush was really important. Even though it says it's transparent black, if you apply it heavily or put too many coats on, it'll end up being way too dark and won't be transparent at all. I stopped after 3 super light coats and was happy with the way it looked. I have something else I want to do to the back glass, but that'll have to wait because I'm too excited to see this color unmasked. I'm extremely excited about how the body came out, even with the little difficulty I had with the Candy. I think the pictures actually do an even better job than the video at showing off the color. This body won't see any action just yet though. I have a couple small modifications I'll be making coming up in the next video, and then I'll be back out testing. Let me know what you think about the new body in the comments below. Subscribe if you want to see more, and as always, thanks for watching. Peace.